Welcome, friends, to our show called Stories with Pal. My name is Pallavi, and I'm joined by my co host Mitali, who is joining me from Raipur, India. Hi, Mitali.
Hi Pallavi, how are you?
Very well. How are you doing? So, friends, Stories with Pal is an attempt to bring out the hidden gems in the society and to connect with people who bring changes in the society.
स्टोरीज विद पाल में आप सबका स्वागत है और आप सभी जानते हैं कि स्टोरीज विद पाल जो है वो समाज की छुपी हुई प्रतिभाओं को आप सबके सामने लाता है। तो आज हम फिर एक छुपे हुए हीरे के साथ आपके साथ प्रस्तुत हुए हैं और आज के छुपे हुए हीरे हैं क्रिस्टल बेथ। क्रिस्टल जो है वो एक प्रोफेशनल एक्ट्रेस है, क्लाउन है, ड्रैग क्वीन है, कॉमेडियन है, इम्प्रोवाइजर है, इवेंट होस्टेस है और एक वेब मॉडल भी है। तो चलिए हम सब जानते हैं क्रिस्टल से और क्रिस्टल से ढेर सारी बातें करते हैं।
जी बिल्कुल, शुक्रिया मिताली। तो मैं ये सेम इंट्रोडक्शन अंग्रेजी में दे दूं। फ्रेंड्स, our guest for today is Krystle Beth. She's a professional actress, clown, drag queen, comedian, improviser, event hostess, and a webcam model. Krystle, welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
Pallavi, thank you for having me, Mitali. Good. It's pretty warm here in Canada where we are. I think it's about 32 degrees, but I guess in India that would be considered chilly. So.
Absolutely. I think in India that would be considered as a pleasant weather. Mitali, how's the weather in Raipur? I mean, what's the temperature?
काफी ह्यूमिडिटी है, अभी टेम्परेचर उतना लो नहीं है। अगर जब बारिश होती है, पानी गिरता है या बारिश होती है, तब थोड़ी बहुत ठंडी महसूस होती है, पर अभी तो फिलहाल उमस है थोड़ी सी।
Okay, so Mitali is saying that it's no different from Canada. There is a lot of humidity and a lot of warm weather out there. So Krystle, I mean, we are so happy that you took out your precious time to share your story with us on Stories with Pal. My first question to you is, um, tell us a little bit about how and when you thought about uh, becoming a drag queen. I mean, whether this is something that you thought about in your childhood or in your adulthood.
I don't know I don't know whether most people would consider me a drag queen in the sense that I don't usually go to bars. Well, nobody's going to bars right now because there are no bars anywhere. I don't usually go to bars and dress up and lip sync to a song. I have done that, but I've always been a performer. I've always been an actor, and when I'm Krystle, an actress. But it's always been a part of me. And when I'm putting on the mask of Krystle, as you said in your introduction, I consider myself a clown. It basically, I put on the mask to reveal, I guess, my purest self and who I really am. My best self, my worst self, my funniest self, my least funny self. My ego is out the door, and you are seeing the honest, raw Krystle, which is the honest, raw me with no filter. That's how I am when it's at its best. It is also a matter, I mean, there's a lot of theories and discussions about drag and transvestites and cross-dressers. I can't speak for everyone else, but all I can say is that in my regular life as someone that presents as a just normal white man, I am so privileged in that life that to become Krystle is to experience a marginalization that I don't feel in life. If that doesn't make any sense, there's some people that might wonder about that.
Right.
But and there are many people who are in their day-to-day lives very privileged, and very powerful that have fantasies and dreams of not experiencing that. And that is something that is exciting for them. And it's not something that's talked about. It's something that's kind of kept very, very quiet, but it's there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is there, and I'm glad that you talked about it. I'm glad that you mentioned it. And since a part of doing this show is an attempt to um create awareness for ourselves, for anyone out there, who's looking for something like this. You talked about the conversations in the society about drag queens, about transvestite, and there was another thing that you said.
Crossdresser. There's a lot of terms that are very interchangeable. Um, Transvestite is an older word. Crossdresser is a more recent word that describes people who are thought of as straight. Drag queen is traditionally thought as a gay man
Mm,
or who gets dressed up and performs in a bar.
right.
So these are all these terms that it's interesting that there's a lot of talk about which term applies to who now. I don't really believe kind of in terms or in labels. I'm just kind of, you know what, I'm me, and there's an old saying that, you know what you think about me is really none of my business.
Right,
So
absolutely.
that's how I kind of see myself.
Right. It's an observation, and then there is a feeling. The observation in the sense that in the society, as we are progressing, there is a lot of talk about these different
Mhm.
terminologies, different labels, different genders, and then
Right.
at the same time, while we all are still trying and working hard to understand the differences, to understand what they mean, at the same time, there is a feeling, parallel feeling, to wanting to break out of all of those labels.
I've been asked what my pronouns are, and I usually say I don't care how you talk about me when I'm not around.
Right,
Because that's traditionally what a pronoun is.
right.
My aspiration is to be she, her.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, exactly, exactly. So when was the first time that you performed as Krystle?
that I performed as Krystle. Um, that's a good question. I mean, I would go out dancing as Krystle before I would start performing as Krystle. I mean, in high school, we did a lip sync as Salt and Pepper. So we did. This was a very different time. So
Right,
I was not only doing drag, but I was doing blackface drag because I can't remember whether I was Salt or Pepper,
right,
but we were a big hit because we were big fans of Salt and Pepper.
right,
Krystle is the superhero. Krystle is my best self.
right.
When I'm Krystle, I am closer to being my best self. I don't know if I'll ever get to be my best self or not, but I'm closer to being my best self uh, as Krystle than I am most other times. But no, I've always been, even not as Krystle, I've always been an actor. I've done television, films, commercials, plays, etc. It's always been a part of who I am.
I remember that the first time that I met you was during a speed dating event for
Yes.
the LGBTQ community. Now,
Mhm.
I'm aware that you've been doing those events for a while now. Um, what has been, now this is an interesting question, and I'm sure the answer is going to be interesting. Um, I watched you. I mean, I saw you, at that event, and one of the things I felt was you were so good at making people comfortable. You were so good at making people feel relaxed, especially in that particular setting where it's very easy for people to be nervous. Meeting with somebody new, with expectations, with no expectations and stuff like
Right.
that. If you would like to share with us about your experience from the time that any speed dating event starts, you see people coming in one by one, and you look at each and everybody's body language and apprehensions and whatnot, or confidence. How do you feel, and what is your approach towards?
Well, I'll tell you what, people just want to be, people just, and this is actually why the world is in the shape that it is. People want to be told what to do. People want to be giving marching orders and given direction. Everyone is feeling aimless and drifting around. There is nothing more satisfying when there's someone that looks like me telling you, your 7 minutes are up, get the hell away from that table and start talking to that other lesbian over there. Or
Right,
gay John. People appreciate confidence.
right.
Um, and in the 7.5 hours that it takes to put this appearance together, I have to become, not that long, but I have to be confident because
What have been some of the most interesting or hilarious behaviors or body languages that you observed during these, or any interesting events during these speed dating events?
well, I won't limit it to the speed dating events, but I will say uh, that in my own way,
Mm,
I have experienced a very, very, very tiny taste of the misogyny that women experience every day without getting too, without getting too heavy or into that.
right,
Um, but when I would go out dancing, there were always straight men who would feel very entitled and not shy about putting their hands on me. And this is something that women experience every day. And I can take this stuff off, but as a woman, uh, I can't say anything about as a woman because I'm not a woman. But I can appreciate even uh, my own behavior that I would do when I was younger. It's given me new insight into how to behave and how not to behave when you are in a vulnerable position. Because the thing about Krystle does, as I said, Krystle is a superhero, but I think she is also a superhero because she is very vulnerable, and I'm very vulnerable.
right.
For a man to put on a dress and a wig and makeup and
Mm,
go out into public is being vulnerable, and that's not something a lot of people, I think about. So certainly not to the same extent that women experience their entire lives,
mhm.
but it's certainly given me an interesting look into the other experience.
Right, right. How does your family, supported you in your choice of work?
My family, going into work in the arts has, I mean, they're a working class, middle class family, so they didn't come from an artistic background themselves. So they, I think, were fine with, if I was in a play, they would always come and see it.
Oh, that's
Uh,
amazing.
that's about it. My Krystle isn't a part of the discussion between myself and my family because Krystle is something that's very personal and intimate to me.
Right,
And I think most people's intimate details of their intimate lives, they don't share it with their family.
right,
Now, when my family does see my painted toenails, my mother does comment on how nice it looks. Uh, my father asked me, that says, why are your toenails painted? I says, and my response is because it's 2020 and a man can paint his toenails.
right, right.
Yeah.
It's okay to get that message out there that sometimes uh, people may understand, people may not understand.
Exactly, and there's no need to overshare things with your family. I mean,
Yeah,
no.
right. Or maybe when there is an appropriate situation, when you know that you have managed to develop that level of understanding, which is very tough.
Mhm.
But with time, sometimes one can be lucky to be in that situation. But it's really amazing that you took this time and all of this effort, and to show your real self to show your honest self through Krystle with our audience. मिताली, कोई सवाल आपके पास जाते जाते क्रिस्टल से?
तुमने बहुत अच्छे सवाल पूछे और उन्होंने जवाब भी बहुत अच्छा दिया। और पल्लवी, मैं कहना चाहती हूँ कि इनकी स्माइल बहुत अच्छी है और बहुत खूबसूरत है ये। और मैं चाहती हूँ कि ये भारत आए तो मैं जरूर इनसे मिलना चाहूंगी।
So basically, Mitali is saying that she really likes your smile and you're extremely beautiful. And if ever you get a chance to visit India, she would love to meet with you.
Thank you, Pallavi, for having me.
Thank you so much, Krystle. Thank you so much, Mitali, everybody. Thank you.